The fragile US-Iran ceasefire came under renewed strain on Friday after both countries exchanged military strikes following an attack on a commercial cargo ship near the Strait of Hormuz. The escalation has raised fresh doubts over the durability of the 60-day peace framework, even as diplomatic efforts continue to resolve the conflict and negotiations advance on wider regional security issues. The United States launched strikes on Iranian missile and drone storage sites and coastal radar positions after accusing Tehran of attacking a commercial cargo ship transiting the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command described the operation as a powerful response to what it called an Iranian violation of last week's ceasefire agreement. Iranian state media later reported that the Revolutionary Guard struck U.S. military positions in the Gulf in retaliation, warning that any further American attacks would receive a broader response. President Donald Trump condemned the reported drone strike on the cargo vessel, calling it a foolish violation of the ceasefire agreement.
A couple of quick questions.
Mr. President, you said that Iran violated the ceasefire. Will they face any consequences?
You'll find out.
Do you consider the ceasefire to still be in place?
I don't like the fact that they took a shot yesterday, actually 4, we knocked down 3, at a ship. Not an allied ship, but a ship, a very expensive ship, and it was fine, but it took a little beating. They shouldn't be doing that, so you'll find out.
Will the U.S.
You'll find out.
Will the U.S. respond? What is your message to Iran?
Will I respond? You're going to find out.
Vice President J.D. Vance warned that while Washington had honored the Memorandum of Understanding, violence will be met with violence if Iran launched further attacks. Iran, however, accused the United States of violating the ceasefire first, saying its response was necessary and that Washington had failed to honor the principles of negotiation. The latest confrontation has renewed concerns over freedom of navigation through the Strait of Hormuz, despite continued negotiations between Washington and Tehran. Iran maintains that vessels must use shipping routes authorized by Tehran, while nearly half of the ships transiting the strait on Thursday reportedly used an alternative route along Oman's coast. The UN's International Maritime Organization had evacuated more than 115 vessels and 2,500 stranded seafarers before suspending its operation following Thursday's attack on the cargo ship.
I took the decisions following further consultations with some countries, particularly in the region, to pause temporarily the evacuation framework. I'm working currently diligently with several parties. I've been in conversations from the countries in the region, the membership of the organization, and in particularly Oman, the United States, and Iran, in order to find these guarantees that were provided at the beginning that vessels will not be targeted and that flow of trade will continue, particularly to evacuate the seafarers. And as soon as I get further confirmations of that, we're ready to reinitiate the process of evacuation.
Despite the renewed tensions, oil prices fell as markets remained optimistic that energy exports through the strategic waterway would continue recovering. Separately, Israel and Lebanon signed a U.S.-backed framework agreement in Washington aimed at reducing hostilities along their shared border. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio described the accord as the beginning of a process toward lasting peace and security.
Thank you. Today is a good day in that we're happy to announce a framework agreement between the sovereign government of Lebanon and of course the government of Israel, with a mediation and support of the United States of America that begins to put in place a framework for lasting peace and security. And that's what these two nations deserve. The people of Lebanon have suffered tremendously now for decades as a result of outside interference in their affairs, of countries trying to use the country as a launch pad for attacks. And this is not what the people of Lebanon want, and that's not what they deserve. What they deserve to have is what they once had, and of which there is recent history of, and that is a prosperous and peaceful country, a diverse country where people of different backgrounds were able to live and coexist side by side, and in many ways was the envy of the region and of the world. And it will take a lot of work and some time to get back to that point, but we believe today is the first step in that journey.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the agreement would allow the Lebanese army to return to limited areas in southern Lebanon while Israeli forces remain in a security zone until Hezbollah is disarmed.
אני רוצה לבשר לכם על הישג גדול למדינת ישראל. אתם יודעים שאנחנו מנהלים משא ומתן בוושינגטון בין נציגי ישראל, לבנון וארצות הברית. זה משא ומתן ממושך והיום הוא נשא פרי. הדבר החשוב ביותר הוא קודם כל שישראל נשארת ברצועת הביטחון בדרום לבנון. זה הישג גדול ואנחנו מקיימים אותו כל עוד חיזבאללה לא פורק מנשקו, כל עוד נשקפת סכנה למדינת ישראל. זה גם מכה גדולה לאיראן. איראן מנסה לכפות עלינו נסיגה בכוח מדרום לבנון, ובעצם ישראל, לבנון וארצות הברית אומרות להם, זה לא עניינכם. אין לכם שום תפקיד בלבנון, לא לכם ולא לחיזבאללה ולא לשום ארגון טרור. הדבר הנוסף כמובן הוא שאנחנו מאפשרים לצבא לבנון להתחיל להתארגן לתפוס שטח. אנחנו עושים 2 אזורי פיילוט, שניהם בהמלצת צה"ל. אחד הוא בכלל מחוץ לאזור הביטחון, הוא מדרום לליטני, והשני הוא מצפון לליטני, חלק קטן ממנו הוא באזור הביטחון המורחב שהשגנו בשבועיים האחרונים, ושצה"ל לא צריך אותו, הוא אומר את זה בצורה הכי ברורה. כלומר, אנחנו שומרים כל הזמן על אזור הביטחון המקורי, מחוץ לטווח הנ"ט, לא מאפשרים לחיזבאללה להיכנס לשם, וגם לא לאוכלוסייה. זה נשמר. והדבר החשוב ביותר הוא שישראל אומרת, הביטחון שלנו קודם לכל.
Lebanese President Joseph Aoun welcomed the deal as a first step toward the return of displaced civilians. Hezbollah rejected the U.S.-backed framework, arguing that Lebanon's conflict cannot be separated from broader U.S.-Iran negotiations. Senior Hezbollah official Hassan Fadlallah warned the Lebanese government would struggle to implement the agreement and accused Washington of attempting to sideline the wider regional peace process. Supporters of the group staged protests in Beirut following the signing ceremony. International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, Director General Rafael Grossi said any final agreement must include robust verification measures to ensure Iran does not develop nuclear weapons. Grossi said intentions alone were insufficient and that strong inspections would be essential.
A memorandum of understanding was subscribed by the 2 presidents, by President Donald Trump and President Pezeshkian from Iran. And this agreement expressly indicates that the nuclear part will be supervised, monitored by the IAEA. What is undeniable is that we have an MOU. This MOU specifically indicates that the nuclear part of the memorandum will be supervised, this is the word, will be supervised by the IAEA. In order to supervise, we need to inspect. There is no other way.
The interim agreement calls for Iran's stockpile of highly enriched uranium to be downblended under IAEA supervision, although Tehran and Washington continue to offer conflicting accounts over future inspection access. Friday's exchange of military strikes highlighted how fragile the U.S.-Iran ceasefire remains despite ongoing negotiations. While diplomatic efforts continue to pursue a permanent settlement and regional agreements are beginning to emerge, disputes over maritime security, nuclear oversight, and the implementation of ceasefire terms continue to pose significant challenges to lasting peace in the Middle East.